Hello everyone and welcome back to a top level game of professional StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today, and I know that the StarCraft community loves throwing around these words, and I'm definitely guilty of that myself as well, but what I've got for you today is a game of Zerg versus Protoss that some people are calling the best game of the year. They're calling this particular game right here on Stargazers the best game of 2022. Now, of course, I haven't seen this game yet, so I guess we'll have to be the judge of that together. And I also don't know what I'll be titling this video, if it is. Because, well, I've already titled like 3 or 4 videos this year. The best game of the year. Either way, we'll find out together. Spawning right here in the top left-hand corner of the map. Playing with the yellow Protoss probes from Germany. We have an absolute channel favorite, and his name is ShoWTimE. His opponent in the top right, a man who always seems to be part of these, like, quote-unquote games of the year, with the purple Zerg drones from Finland. We are looking at Serral's main hatchery. Alrighty, so Serral versus ShoWTimE on Stargazers. If you're watching this video on the day that it goes up on my YouTube channel, this particular match was literally played last night. So this was part of the TSL 9. This was a match from the upper bracket finals, meaning that at this point in the tournament, neither of these two players had lost a series yet, which is obviously very impressive, and it's pretty deep into the tournament as well. This is 2 series before the actual grand finals of the event. Alright. Now, I can imagine I'm going to be giving this video a pretty clickbaity title, so maybe there's going to be some people watching this video that will indeed not be too familiar with StarCraft 2, so maybe a quick rundown of these two players is in order. First off, both of these they've been competing at a very high level for a very long time. ShoWTimE has been playing this game professionally probably since like 2010, 2011, maybe 2012 or so. But basically, for as long as I've been following StarCraft 2, ShoWTimE has been around. And he's always been a very strong Protoss, either like the best or like the second best Protoss from the European region. And he's incredibly solid. Like, he is a... I have to say this for the German fans, okay? He's known as Die Mauer, which means that he's a wall, and that describes both his play style, but also just, you know, how rock solid he is. He always does well. Like, there's never a tournament where ShoWTimE is the favorite, I don't think. I mean, unless maybe it's like a German event, although you still have, I guess, Hero Marine and Lambo that would disagree. But anyways, he's never necessarily the favorite to win a tournament, but he always does very well. He's always like a top 4 kind of contender. And I mean, some people are maybe thinking that is disrespectful, but it's really not. It's just that there are, well, players out there that are even better than ShoWTimE. And one of them is Serral. Serral, by many, is considered to be the greatest StarCraft 2 player of all time. I think at this point, statistically, there's really no doubt. Some people will say that it's Maru. Some people will say that it's Rogue. Maybe Innovation is part of that title. But honestly, in my mind, Serral, since he's now, well, the 2-time world champion of StarCraft 2. He's the current world champion of StarCraft 2. In my mind, since he has won so many things over so many years, he is definitely the greatest player that we've ever had in SC2. And maybe that title will shift at some point in the future, but Serral certainly does not show any signs of slowing down. Maybe he's not as dominant as he was back in like 2000 and, for example, 18, right? Which is when he won practically everything. He never lost a game. He's still looking rock solid, and he's still incredibly good. Anyhow, what we've got right here is a macro opener from the both of them. Phoenixes to start off with for ShoWTimE. He's going to go into an Oracle as a follow-up too. Serral decided to rush out that Overlord speed, which is one of the builds that he likes to go for quite a bit. It allows him to scout out exactly what the opponent is going for, and while it's by no means a cheap early game upgrade, if you know exactly how to respond in every single situation that you might be facing in a game of StarCraft 2, it does make a lot of sense that you want to figure out exactly what the opponent is going for, so maybe you can cut a corner at some later time. I would say probably like 9 out of 10 professional games of Zerg. Zerg players skip that Mutalisk carapace upgrade, but Serral really likes it. And in theory, it makes a lot of sense. It's just that you're investing quite a few resources as well into an upgrade that, well, can basically be shut down and can sometimes provide you information that is now going to cost you the game because you've invested resources into getting Overlord speed, and therefore you can't afford like the 4 Banelings or whatever that you needed to actually defend. Anyhow, he's going to go for a follow-up scout as well, and you will see that it's now a Twilight Council together with a Forge. This is a very common follow-up, of course. It's not a second Stargate or anything along those lines. Just a single Phoenix to start things off with, and now we're going to go into that Oracle harassment. ShoWTimE is looking to kill at least like 3-4 workers. It's going to be very hard, though. Okay, he gets 1. didn't think he was going to get a single one, if I'm being honest with you. It's very hard, right? Because if Zerg is left to their own devices in the earlier stage of the game, like... Oh. Okay, that was a little bit brave. He's going to try again. Anyways, when they're left to their own devices in the earlier stage of the game, look at that creep spread, right? This is one of the things that Zerg players over the years have gotten really good at. We don't really have any... Okay, this is good. Very nice right here for ShoWTimE. Really good, actually. Okay, well, that last shot was not ideal, but gonna get a couple of Zerglings as well before deactivating the Pulsar Beam. 5 drones and a bunch of links, keeping both Oracles alive. Not bad at all. Anyways, we don't really have, like, exact statistics to quantify how good Zerg players have become at spreading creep. And, of course, as soon as I talk about that, he's not actually spreading the creep. Classic caster curse. But, Zerg players have gotten very good at it over the years, and it really allows you to defend those bases and, yeah, defend your hatcheries quite a bit easier. You can imagine if the bases aren't even connected, which is what we used to have in the early days. In the early days of StarCraft 2, we wouldn't really have a creep tumor going in between these expansions. Yeah, it's very hard to actually defend against these units from the Protoss. Now the Queens, though, can join together. They can split up very easily, and they can be used for base defense quite nicely. Follow-up right here from Protoss is going to be Blink together with the +1 ground weapons. So this is a very common style that we see all the time right now, and especially on a map like Stargazer, it can be really good, because you can indeed take that 4th base really easily. So... yeah, this is not really something that Zerg can easily deal with at this point. And despite the fact that Serral saw that there was a Stargate opener, he still decides to go for a Spire. Spire here is definitely the spiciest take in his game so far. Everything has been, yeah, stock standard, rock solid. I would say that a Spire here is a little bit funky because it probably means that he wants to go for Mutalisks. Now, Mutalisks are very good, especially if the opponent doesn't have a counter, right? In this particular case, there's already a Stargate, there's already Blink. So Mutas are only really going to be good. Hello. Okay, that's a little bit sloppy. Anyways, they're only really going to be good. Okay, 13 at once. If the Protoss player doesn't scout it, and if they suddenly show up in one of those bases. Now, this is an expansion that looks incredibly susceptible to Mutas. And at this point, obviously, with Protoss being out on the map and trying to defend those outer bases, it's going to be quite difficult for them to actually... yeah, get in the right place at the right time. So technically speaking, ShoWTimE has all of the tools to deal with the Mutas, but he doesn't know that Mutas are coming since he did not see the Spire. So, despite the fact that this shouldn't really work very well, and why you probably shouldn't be playing it in your own games, I think that Serral might still be able to find a path across the map. He's scouting ahead right now as well with Zerglings to make sure that there's no spotter units here for Protoss. Okay. I'm surprised he didn't go for that pocket base. Instead, he wants to go for the natural. Okay, so he's opening the front door for the Zerglings to run in first. Ah, that's what we're doing. +1 melee at this point is done as well. How many Zerglings are gonna go down? He's actually doubling down on the Mutas. He's going +1 flyer attacks as well. Okay. So this base, yeah, this base is so risky. Beautiful. Very nicely done right here by Serral. Not something that we normally see. Oh my god, he's even gonna go after... Oh, that's so greedy, dude. Are you kidding me? Alright, not something that we normally see in this matchup, and I think that that was a little bit too much. Well, we see it a lot if Protoss decides to go, like, straight into a robo facility or something along those lines, but not after a Stargate opener into Blink. While it is definitely a little bit greedy, with that pocket expansion, it actually makes a lot of sense. The move that Serral just made, opening the front door right there for the Zerglings to run in and then creating chaos. Anyways, he ended up losing 9 Mutas there, but at the cost of 27 probes. That's gonna slow down, yeah, Mr. ShoWTimE here quite a bit. But he still got so many Mutas. Normally you make like one group of Mutas. Oh my god, look at this. What happened? Serral, what did I put in your tea this morning, man? Ooh. Speaking of tea. Actually, no, I've got coffee. I lied. Serral has loaded up 5 Overlords full of Zerglings. That is 40 Zerglings. He's showing his Mutas and Links right here at the front of the natural of the Protoss. So I think he wants to go for a drop over here. There are 2 Archons, there is a shield battery, and there's also a photon cannon. Mutas in the meantime being annoying over here. Okay, let's see. How much damage can this really deal? I think that battery is going to be awesome. Yeah, okay, well, he targets down the battery. Of course Serral does. I mean, it's an of course, but it's also one of those moves where you're like, it's really easy to forget that. It's really easy to be caught up in a million other things that you need to get done. Honestly, trading a bunch of Zerglings right there for a shield battery and a couple Archons, not terrible for Zerg, but definitely not what he was looking for. And honestly, also, ShoWTimE is doing a fantastic job microing against those mutas right now. Since Phoenixes can move and shoot at the same time, you really don't even need that many to be able to contest the muta clump, assuming you actually micro them well. Another Archon gets picked off. Still, I think the age of the muta at this point is over. You do want to be careful that you don't get caught with, well, like 20 Phoenixes, because Phoenixes do fall off pretty quickly as the game progresses, but I think ShoWTimE is reading this correctly. He knows his opponent committed pretty heavily into mutas, but he's not going to be playing only mutas. So matter of fact, Serral has already made the next step in his plan. He's going to go from Roaches into Ravagers with Zerglings and Banelings, it seems, as he's now researching the Centrifugal Hooks upgrade. That's the roly-poly upgrade for those Banes. Despite the economic harassment, though, ShoWTimE is doing an excellent job defending, right? Remember that wall I was talking about? Sure, he's lost a ton of workers because he didn't scout that well. It's very hard to scout that, to be fair. But it's not like he's in a bad position here whatsoever. A lot of Protoss actually in these sort of circumstances are like, oh no, I'm behind, I need to go kill him right now, because there's no way I can box against that Zerg economy. But with the recent changes that we've seen in the Zerg versus Protoss meta, it's actually become really quite good for Protoss players to expand super rapidly and just catch up in that worker count. Banelings over here being annoying. At the very least, they're threatening a roll-by, but I believe they were already spotted by the Phoenixes, so I don't think they're really gonna be able to get much done. Baneling drops coming up as well right now for Serral. My god, okay. So Serral has won those World Championships and most of those tournament wins of his off of the back of stellar macro. He's kind of like a sponge, you know? Like, he absorbs every single blow, and then eventually he overwhelms the opponent. In this game, none of that is happening. I guess ShoWTimE is the sponge in this particular analogy, right? He's doing a very good job defending. Okay, good storms as well. Beautiful storms over there. Where's that Overlord? Oh my god, that Overlord is impossible to see on the minimap. Dude, I literally do not see it on the minimap. Oh, there it is. Okay. Good thing I found it, because it's dealing some damage. 10 probes once more end up going down. We don't have charge yet? Ooh, that's an oversight. Okay. So, in the midst of all that chaos, ShoWTimE did not get the charge upgrade, so this slow Zealot run by is really awkward. Still trading some minerals for gas, though, but now it obviously gave Serral the heads up that this is definitely an option, so he's going to be building some spine crawlers right here on the edge of his creep. In the meantime, though, he's stacked up towards a hive, and now he's got the Greater Spire done together with Brute Lords. Excellent timing right there, once again by the finisher, because this is an army right here from Protoss that can technically deal quite well with Brutes, but it's very difficult to get the right engagement. Queens have a lot of energy available. You'd need to blink forward with the Stalkers, but against Lings and Banes and then Queens transfusing the Brutes, I don't think it's going to happen. No, he's trying. Excellent timing there. Actually, really nicely done. Most Zerg players get stuck playing Mutaling Bane, and then you look at Serral and it's like, wait, he's got Brutes? Where did those come from? Yeah, just tech up, guys. Just keep macroing. Duh. Just, you know, don't be bad. Anyhow, I'm really liking this position right here for ShoWTimE, actually. While Serral has had this game go his way and he's got a fantastic economy, most players have already died against Serral at this point, against this sort of playstyle. And ShoWTimE is in a very comfortable spot. Yeah, he's going into that transition right now towards additional Stargates. He's going into a Fleet Beacon as well. So he's setting himself up for a late game. Oh my god, okay. Those High Templar going down there against a bunch of Banelings is bad for the Protoss. You do not want to lose those Spellcasters. Super important to keep those alive. Zerglings once again in the bases. Zerglings right here in the front as well. Okay, they're going to roll into the expansions here in a little bit, but at the same time, there's some Stalker harassment in the pocket base. Suddenly, there's aggression everywhere. That base should not fall, right? Now, Brute Lords have finally shown up. Queens have a lot of energy. I don't think they're going to be able to kill much. Banelings over here are spotted as well. Nicely done here by the German Protoss, and I don't think that's really going to do too much. Hatchery actually did go down. Wow, okay. So he must have had just barely not enough energy to keep that hatchery alive, so, Sacrificing like a dozen Stalkers, though, for one hatch? Not entirely sure if that's worthwhile, but then again, ShoWTimE needs to open up some supply to go for higher tier units. Second Cybercore coming up, so he's going to go double upgrades for those Skytles units, and I think he's going to queue up some carriers here in just a moment, as soon as he has the resources to do so. Okay. Beautiful splits here by ShoWTimE. I love that. In theory, I love it anyways. I don't know if it's going to work out particularly well in this game, but Brute Lord's not really a type of unit that you can split up. And look at that, he gets another hatch. Brilliant. Yeah, Brute Lord's not really a unit that you can split in 2 different armies. So even though normally it's Serral who's the more mobile player here, ShoWTimE is the one that actually creates a lot of chaos here. Snipes another base. At the same time though, Zergling counterattack here cancels the natural in the bottom, or the Nexus in the bottom left-hand corner. Now is there a pesky little Zergling here. Burrowing as well to make it hard to actually retake that expo here in just a moment. Okay, another good storm. Very nice storms. I'm surprised. Yeah, I think he probably wanted to go for a big transition here towards Skytools, but I think ShoWTimE is also looking at his army. He's like, not really too keen on the amount of units that I've got right now. I need to do another warp in, so I guess that Skytools transition will have to wait. He did start up the second upgrade, so I guess he does, yeah, he does plan on making that move. ShoWTimE, by the way, currently at 96 workers. Maybe that style that Raynor has been playing as Protoss has kind of rubbed up. That is brilliant right there for Protoss. Nicely done. That Archon. Look at them, dude. He just took like 10 banelings to the face. Barely lost any of his shields, and obviously those shields regenerate very rapidly. Okay, maybe a little bit of an overextension, although, you know what? Another beautiful storm. Okay, once again, nice little move. I love this too. Couple of units here trying to prevent this from dealing a lot of damage. The Zerg were to come from the side. Then again, the Brutes still pretty powerful. Roaches in the bottom of the map. Man, these guys are everywhere. Yeah, look at that. Actions per minute. Definitely going up at this point. Yeah, I love how the tables have turned in this matchup. Don't those Archons just get like additional range? How were they attacking from there? Am I crazy? That seemed like they were... Huh? They are relatively short-ranged attackers. They were attacking those rocks from, Yeah, that seems a little bit more realistic. I guess it's just the animation, right? Because the rocks are, like, taking up that amount of space. I think the animation was just a little bit wonky there. But it suddenly looked like that Archon had, like, Colossus-level ranged. Serral, by the way, making a transition as well, and I like this. But it's uncommon. He made a transition, quote-unquote, down towards Lurkers. So, after going Brute Lords, he's going into Lurkers now. Oh my god. That fungal growth into transfusion. Yeah, you can't blink away when you have the fungal growth on you. It is gonna cost Protoss quite dearly, although I say that and immediately there's a lot more Stalkers out on the map. I think he probably wants to make a transition where Skytools, but maybe he wants not just Serral to think, but also everyone watching that he's gotta make that choice. And then in reality, he's actually just, yeah, going super deep. Look at this. Heavy, heavy gateway army focus. Now the Lurkers are out, though. Huh. Interesting. So Lurkers and Brute Lords have a lot of overlap in the roles that they fulfill in these Zerg armies. They're both very anti-ground, right? Like, they both shut down Protoss ground units. So I think alternatively, Serral could have doubled down on the Brute Lord play. But I think what he's probably going to use the Lurkers for is base defense. I think what he probably wants to do is just leave those Lurkers behind. Burrow them in, like, tactical locations. Make it hard for those Zealot run-bys and Stalkers to get in. And then use the actual Brute Lords. Oh my god, that's a very risky blink. Literally into the Lurkers and into the Brute Lords and Fungal. Somehow it's still not terrible. But yeah, I think he's probably going to use them a little bit differently. So even though they fulfill similar roles, they are going to both be utilized. Look at this. Look at this. ShoWTimE, dude. Love this. Yeah, with the super active style that he's playing, he's actually the one that's taking the golden base. We've almost gotten used over the years that Zerg is mining more. But recently Protoss is, well, with Hero leading that charge, I suppose, right? The Korean Protoss player Hero. They've recently figured out how to play that super stalker heavy army. And I kind of love it, man. This is super cool. Look at me. I'm the swarm now. Every Protoss player on the ladder. It's not as easy as it looks, though. It's very easy to accidentally get your army surrounded with a bunch of +2 upgraded Zerglings, and then you lose everything. Yeah. Serral now up with his back against the wall. Although, you know, I guess ShoWTimE is the wall. Whoa, that saying does not make a whole lot of sense. That is an image that I won't be able to get out of my mind anytime soon. Either way, 14 drones end up going down together with the hatch. It's obviously at the expense of a ton of Protoss units, but You got a fair share of Zerg units too. I don't think it's too bad. Prism in the back of the main base. Observer here scouting out everything. One Immortal, apparently feeling awfully immortal. I think you probably need to go back, bro. Yeah, you're not actually immortal. It's just your name, dude. No, what? Okay, he got back up. He got back up. He's just the commanding officer, okay? Sometimes it's important for the manager to, you know, do tasks that he might be a little bit overqualified for, just to lead the charge and show the other troops that, yeah, he's not afraid of the dirty work. Let's see. There's a lot to run by, dude. ShoWTimE is relentless. And keep in mind, right? If ShoWTimE keeps this up for another 10 minutes, he can mine out that golden base. And once the golden minerals are gone, they are gone. This is not a base that Serral can then mine from later on. If you look at the income advantage, oh my god, look at that. Beautiful. ShoWTimE has clawed his way back into the game after that pretty unfortunate start against the Mutas. He wasn't in a terrible position at that point by any means, but he's definitely secured an advantage over the course of the last, I want to say, 5 to 8 minutes or so. Really nicely done. He's everywhere. He's not allowing Serral right now to respread any of that creep. And despite the fact that Serral... Ooh, don't lose the... Okay, that sucks. Okay, losing a bunch of High Templar here is very painful. Yeah, you're still playing against Serral, dude. Don't want to get overly confident. But yeah, Serral now, he's maxed out, but he doesn't have that much of a bank. The same can be said, of course, for ShoWTimE, but keep paying attention here. If he does not get rid of that golden baser at the bottom, Serral that is. Okay, he's thinking the same thing. He scouts it right now. But if he does not get rid of that here in a moment, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Okay, now finally is the transition. Scouted right away as well by Serral, by the way. Okay, random overseer. Random overseer manages to scout the carrier transition. We're already going into very nice upgrades though here for ShoWTimE. I love this. And he's still harassing. He's still microing that base at the bottom. Still mining a lot. I think the next step in ShoWTimE's plan is making a death bowl. Try and mine out as much of the bottom base as possible and then make a death bowl. He is likely to lose this expansion here. But he's got enough now to make a very scary army. Oh my god, he's got a recall. He wants to keep this base alive. That is honestly very risky. He's literally recalling into a bunch of lurkers. Yeah, that's not the move, dude. That is not the move. That's like recalling into siege tanks or something that are like burrowed on the ground, right? Like, it's not a great idea. Lurkers are not very good when you have to reposition them. But they're very good when the units suddenly show up and can deal maximum amount of splash damage to them, right? That is, yeah, that's not the move. Alright. Eventually that base goes down. ShoWTimE loses a bunch of stuff. But on the flip side, he's opened up a lot of supply right now to make the heavy hitters. Probes once again moving down. Serral scouts this. Because of course he does. I think the main thing that ShoWTimE has to worry about right now are these infestors. Infestors have a skill called Neural Parasite. They can use it while burrowed on the ground, which is kind of like Mind Control in StarCraft 1. They can temporarily... Well, Mind Control is a little bit more powerful, I guess, but... yeah, you can temporarily get these carriers, or for example, Archons or Immortals to switch sides. And you can imagine that's bad. If suddenly the carriers start fighting the other Protoss units, that's not ideal. Especially when they're incredibly well upgraded. So they're now maxed. Yeah, they're going to be... Actually, no, he forgot the +3 armor. Anyways, he's going to be able to get a lot of damage out of these units here. What will make this army better? I would say a Mama ship. The mothership is obviously amazing. How many High Templar do we have? We only got 2. I think more High Templar and a couple more Archons, also not a bad idea. ShoWTimE still, by the way, and it is worth noting, at 85 workers versus only 40 drones on the side of the Zerg. Meaning that if you look at the army supply count right here, right, that's 156 versus 110. The Zerg army is just miles bigger. That's not really... Anyways, you get what I'm trying to say. Microbial Shroud on top of the lurkers and on top of the queens. Alright, then, that's one way to try and make that better. We do have some... Oh, I got some fungal growth, some potential for parasitic bomb, some vipers in the mix too. Good feedback right there by ShoWTimE. But this is actually not that great of a fight. And I think that's mostly due to the fact that Zerg just has a much bigger army. Yeah, look at the army value here in the top left. That's the amount of resources that both players have spent on their armies. And Serral's army is huge. Obviously, what he doesn't have, though, is much economy. As a matter of fact, he's broke. Yeah, he's just spent all of his money in his 170 supply. ShoWTimE can easily max out. But he can max out on Zealots. And I don't know if Zealots are really going to be that great. Well, he's making 10 of them right now. He's probably thinking the same thing. He is maxed out. He is going to go for a nice little... Okay, a nice little Zealot run by here. Using the Prism to once again go behind those mineral fields and then probably into the main base. A lot of this was already hurt. Getting the Hive here would actually be sick. ShoWTimE has been ahead for a long time in this game. For the majority of it. But this is one of the absolute most powerful Zerg armies. With, I would say, the best player in the world controlling it. This is not an easy army to control by any means. Because you need to have practically all these units on a separate control group. The only thing that's really missing here is multiple Vipers. If we had like 3 Vipers here in the mix, this would be even more lethal. I think ShoWTimE may have gotten a little bit carried away with the pressure build, to be honest. Like, he probably was planning on winning with the Mass Stalker Zealot army. And in his practice games, he probably does win with that army. But he's not there yet. Then again, yeah, Serral does not have the... Oh, he wants to fight so bad. Okay, Serral does not have the... Okay, sure. Using Revelation right there. Okay, well, that's one way to keep track of that Protoss force, I suppose. Anyways, he doesn't have the Spore Crawler Ball, right? Normally at this point, we see like 50 to sometimes even 100 Spore Crawlers on the battlefield. Zergs usually trade out all of their drones. That's not what happened in this game. Serral just simply didn't rebuild the drones. I think a lot of this game will be decided by this expansion right over here at the bottom. And that's why I love Stargazers. This is a sick map. May actually be my favorite map in the current map pool. At the very least, to cast games on. So many creative builds and strategies because of the pocket base. But I'm a big fan of this like recent development where we have like bases on either side of the map, right? On either side of the screen for both of the players. And then one shared expansion somewhere in the middle. I actually think it's a really cool dynamic. Anyways, look at this. ShoWTimE setting up his static defense at the 6 o'clock. Same can be said for Serral. They're gonna be fighting over these minerals because that's the last money on this map. Well, there's still some money over here as well for Zerg, I suppose. Yeah, just because, well, he's not had that many drones. He's actually got some good mining coming in right now, I believe, right? ShoWTimE is gonna be running out very soon. He needs to be careful. Like, since he had way more workers, 80 workers obviously also mine out those mineral fields much quicker. So this expansion, 43 probes on it. That is not what you want. That's a lot of wasted supply. Anyways, Fungal Growth right there. Infestor suddenly showing up. There's the neural parasites I was talking about. Oh no. ShoWTimE, careful, careful, careful. You gotta storm that. You gotta storm that, my man. If you don't storm that, you're gonna lose a lot more of these units, yeah. So they changed sites temporarily, but now the Corruptors are on top of them as well. Serral took a banger of a fight just now, but there are still quite a few Protoss units up in the air. It's a Mass Tempest transition, by the way, here from ShoWTimE. So the Tempest can certainly, yeah, be very helpful here. So with the combination of the Oracle's Revelation ability, the ShoWTimE Tempest can actually shoot through the Fog of War, right? They just need vision. They can shoot further away than they can see. But as long as they have vision, they can definitely pick off these Queens one at a time, the Corruptors one at a time, the Brute Lords one at a time. Very nicely done. At the same time, there was a little bit of a push up north, but indeed, that's where those Lurkers come in. So those Lurkers have not really been as useful as I think Serral probably imagined them, but they've been pretty great nonetheless. Now the Mama ship is coming up? Really? Alright. ShoWTimE is sending those 40-odd workers that he had over there. Okay, well, not all of them, but he sent a lot of the workers down towards the 6 o'clock base. Tempests, once again, as soon as the Revelation is available, they're going to start working on whatever they can. You don't want to overextend, ShoWTimE. You never want to be caught with your pens down against, like, half a dozen or even a dozen of... How many are there? There are... Only... Okay, there's actually only 4. Whoa, that's actually pretty bad for Serral. Okay, I did not realize that in that battle just now, he ended up losing a lot of infestors. Anyways, you don't want to accidentally get your entire army neuraled, is what I'm getting at. For obvious reasons, right? I don't know if that really needed to be said, but... Careful, dude. You You don't want to be face-checking through the side blockers right there with High Templar. You never know what's hiding behind that, man. Okay, the mothership here is definitely an investment, but she has a lot of utility as well. 400 minerals, 400 gas. I think this is ShoWTimE mostly making it because he hasn't really... Okay. He hasn't really seen any Vipers, or not as many. So, there are Vipers right now. Serral did remake a couple of those, but... Yeah, only 2. Anyways. The mothership has obviously got the time warp ability, which is fantastic. This is ShoWTimE sacrificing probes. Opening up more supply for him to add on more and more of those Void Rays. So the Void Rays are a bit of a mind game here. Ooh, are we setting up static defense in the middle of the map? Let's go. Okay, so he's got the bottom base. This is huge. Anyways, this is a bit of a mind game. I think at this point, ShoWTimE is almost baiting the opponent out to go down south, which is exactly what's happening. To then engage up north. Sadly here for the German Protoss, though, he is only going up against a bunch of lurkers down south. I think Serral was reading his opponent here like a book. Doing a great job, just... Oh, no. Dude, we gotta be so careful. I don't really like the army movement here for ShoWTimE all too much. I think the Brute Lords, Queens, Corruptors, all of those units were supposed to be, quote-unquote, supposed to be in the mind of ShoWTimE, the ones that deal with the army and the bases down south. And at that point, ShoWTimE could go after the expansion over here, which is, yeah, the last mining here for the finisher. Instead, that's not really happening. Now the lurkers are suddenly up north. Serral's going to be able to get rid of those quite easily. That's a couple High Templar going down. They stormed themselves. Ugh. That's ugly. Could have used the mothership there, I think, for cloaking instead, right? Would have been much better. Hindsight is 20/20, but you definitely still want to be careful here as ShoWTimE, because he's bleeding out a lot of units here. 19 High Templar have gone down in this game. So if you compare that to the Zerg spellcasters, I mean, the Queens, I guess, are technically spellcasters, but some of those died at the beginning of the game. Resources lost are heavily in favor here of the Zerg. Which is kind of funny, right? If you would have told me that a year ago? This is such a sick game, actually. Okay. ShoWTimE's army is still incredible. He doesn't have a prism here, so those High Templar are not going to be able to go into these bases. Yeah, I think he needs the High Templar really bad, actually. Mass Recall, all the way down towards the bottom. High Templar are super dead here. Maybe not. The lurkers burrowed. And I'm burrowed really rapidly. Anyways, 21 workers ended up going down there, but I think that's fine. ShoWTimE still has more than enough. So Serral, interestingly enough, seems to be content with giving ShoWTimE an entire extra base. Is that a mistake? Because sure, he knows that he's been trading more efficiently, but has he been trading an entire golden base more efficiently? I'm not so sure that he has. Then again, it's giving him a lot of time to breathe, right? So alternatively, I guess, he probably would have already died if he tried contesting that. So instead, right now, he's saying, okay, you know what? I'm in a bad spot. I'm making this decision right now to give myself another at least 5 to 10 minutes in this game. Maybe I can somehow, yeah, pull a rabbit out of a hat. And he's known to do that in the past. I don't think any Zerg player is comfortable playing this situation right now. But if anyone feels comfortable, it's probably Serral. Alright, well now suddenly ShoWTimE has lost a couple too many workers. Yeah, that base goes down. Okay. What ShoWTimE should not do is fight on creep. A lot of supply is caught up in Queens. We have 21 Queens on the battlefield. Transfusions are incredibly strong. They can keep a lot of those Zerg units alive for much longer than they otherwise would. So if somehow ShoWTimE can take an engagement off creep, that would be fantastic. With the way that he's moving his army around though, he's a bit too aggressive for my liking. I think he should be more passive. Maybe I'm mistaken, but the way that he's constantly like patrolling the edge of the creep, I'm a little afraid that at some point he's gonna overstep and suddenly his army gets fungled. There's an abduction on the mothership. Queens will be part of the battle, everything gets transfused, and ShoWTimE's armies, yeah, they fall apart here. Obviously, that is just in my mind, but I've seen it happen so many times before, Serral is patient, right? Serral is here. Somehow, even though ShoWTimE has been the one in charge of this game, it seems Serral who's in his comfort zone. Okay. Feedback on a queen. Fascinating. Yeah, he's deep on creep now. He's got to be so careful. Okay, just picks off the base and gets out of there. No, you gotta get out, dude. Get out. Dude, once you get fungal, this... Oh my god. Okay. Well then. I guess he's picked his poison. Time warp going down as well, though. Is this really where you want to fight? Another time warp. Now all the Protoss units are out of energy. Okay. Alright. I actually don't think that was so bad. Yeah, Serral came all down from that ramp, right? So we saw the army units over there, but ShoWTimE doesn't know if there's a large Zerg force right over there, for example, right? It's very doable that suddenly a bunch of infestors show up, fungal, and you can't go anywhere. Whew, dangerous, very dangerous, but ended up working out right there for him. Now with all those 80-something workers down, though, ShoWTimE is actually behind in supply. There's another fungal. He is... Okay, he's being very aggressive here. Archon's underneath to shoot at those corruptors. Fair enough. He is still in a fantastic position because of his army. Army supply counts right now actually pretty much dead even. Queen still, though, joining in this battle. Corruptors picking off whatever they can. Archons were also destroyed. Mothership not really providing a whole lot of cloaking in this fight. High Templar gets destroyed right over there. No more spellcasters other than the Mothership here for the Protoss player. And he's not using it because he's already used both of the time warps up north. I think he needs to be more patient. I mean, it's easier said than done, especially when you think that this is the upper bracket finals, right? You need to try and stay alive at this point in the tournament. There's a couple more infestors suddenly popping out. No energy on those either, though. Queen's joining in the fray right now, too. I really think ShoWTimE should be giving himself a little bit of breathing room to get more energy regenerated on that Mothership. Protoss spellcasters are incredible. In his mind, though, he's thinking right now, look at this Zerg army. It's not really that good at all. And honestly, there's really not that much anti-air available anymore for the Zerg either. It's only 4 carriers and 3 Void Rays. Couple Corruptors are available, but quite a few Queens as well. There's still a lot of supply caught up here for the Zerg as well in these Lurkers. This is a bad fight, though, I do believe, for the Protoss, right? Fungal growth once again joining in. The Queens are dealing so much damage. There's no interceptors, right? Like, when these fights go on for such a long time, there's 0 interceptor ships. So we are talking 4 carriers here, but no interceptors. As a matter of fact, actually, that's the reason why we don't have interceptors. ShoWTimE is completely broke. He cannot afford rebuilding those units. I just realized they're not even building. So those are essentially paperweights right now. He's just got the Tempests. The carriers are just here to tank a little bit of the damage. Still, Queen's only there for the anti-air. And obviously the Tempest heavily outrange those units. I love this little move here. Okay, with the Void Rays, trying to pick off whatever they can. Zerglings going in for the counterattack in the bottom left-hand corner. There's 4 probes somewhere out on the map, but carriers, they need to pay 15 minerals per interceptor in order to actually rebuild those. This is where it all comes down. Are there enough Queens to kill all of those Tempests? I just want to imagine what that previous fight would have looked like, though. With, like, 1 more Storm. Or, like, 1 more Time Warp. Look how narrowly Serral kept some of his units alive here. That is... okay, very dangerous. Still, ShoWTimE is on the prowl. He's inside of the bases of the Zerg. Zerg has got no income anymore either, so both players are dead broke. That means that what we've got right now is what we're going to get, right? There's not going to be much improvement here. There's 1 Corruptor. Apparently, Serral smashed his piggy bank and just barely got enough. He is pressuring his opponent, and this is actually huge. Serral is putting a lot of pressure on his opponent, saying, okay, you know what? You can fight my bases, you can take off my structures, and that's fine, but I am slowly gobbling you up from the inside out. If you don't kill me soon, I'm going to destroy all your structures. So the win condition in a game of StarCraft 2 is to destroy all of your opponent's structures. This is essentially 4 Tempests, 2 Void Rays, and an Oracle, going up against 3 Queens, 1 Corruptor, and 2 Infestors. Yeah, ShoWTimE has got this one in the bag. I think he overextended a little bit. I think he overextended a little bit in that previous fight. I love that. Good revelation. Get rid of that. Yes, get rid of that corruptor. Okay, well, Queen's still available. Actually leading the charge right here with the carriers. Okay, well, actually, no, the neuroparasite! The neuroparasites just changed the tide of... No, the Tempests are getting picked off one at a time. There's only one more Tempest available right now. The Queens are shooting at it. The other Tempests are shooting at it too. No more energy available, though, for a follow-up Neuro, so that means it's now 2 Tempests available. What was previously 4. Corruptor ended up going down. Oracle still stays alive. Super important to pick that one off, but... No. Okay, ShoWTimE. Ends up losing that one too. I think as Serral right now, ideally you try to wait until you've got more energy, right? So there's no more detection. There is no detection here for ShoWTimE whatsoever. He doesn't have an Oracle. He does not have an Observer or anything along those lines. So he cannot actually spot those Zerg units. I think what he wants to do right now, Serral that is wait until he's got enough energy on this one Infestor to go for the Neuroparasite on the Tempest, and ShoWTimE reads it correctly. He's splitting off the Tempest right now, knowing very well that that is what the finisher here wants to go for. Brilliant. Okay. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, Serral is going for it. Well, as many of the structures as he can. There's one Void Ray, actually. Okay. There's actually 2 Void Rays in total. Where did they come from? Alright, anyways, I don't know where he got the money for those. Maybe he had those earlier and he just brought them back home. Anyhow, if that was the case, you probably should have had them with the main army. I still think, though, that one Neuroparasite on this Tempest is gonna let the Queens kill it. No. Okay, well, the Queens are dead. Never mind. Keep forgetting about Burrow. It's usually not a very relevant, parameter at this stage in the game, but... So he's got enough energy right now. It's 100 energy for a Neuroparasite. Maybe should have, yeah, pointed that out earlier. But he's got enough energy for it right now on that one Infestor. ShoWTimE has been looking at the clock, I'm sure. So he knows that 100 seconds have passed. He knows that there is definitely the potential right now. Okay, well, there's the Neuroparasite on one of these. I actually really like that. Okay, the Tempest. Gunning down the other Tempest. Serral right now using the first Tempest once again. Oh, and he gets it. Yes, he does get it. He does get it. Now we're talking. No. That was absolutely ridiculous. Brilliant game of StarCraft. Hey, if you made it all the way until the end of this video and you enjoyed watching it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We are very close to hitting 500,000 subscribers, which... it's pretty amazing. And if you enjoyed it, please take the 1 second that it takes to hit the like button down below. It really does help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.